Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle for a match preview on the channel with Jack and Dan. You might as well call us JD right now, Dan, Jack Daniels and all that, you know.
Absolutely.
Anyway, right, Leicester take on Bristol City tomorrow night at the King Power. A big week for Leicester, Dan. 2 home games this week. It's games that we've really got to start kicking on with. I know the players like to play away from home, but you look at our next 4 out of 4 games, 3 of them are at home now, aren't they? Bristol City, QPR and Preston. So they've got no excuses now. They've got to go and play in front of 30,000 instead of 1,700 or whatever it is we take away from home at times. So here we go. What's your thoughts, Dan? Big week?
Like I say, huge week for us, really, to be fair, Jack. You know, well, to be honest, huge couple of weeks, to be fair. You know, when we're looking at the fixtures of these next sort of 7-8 games, you know, we really need to start picking wins up. You know, the draws are okay, but they're not good. They're nowhere near enough. And, you know, again, yes, I am. Yes. But at the end of the day, Ipswich, the draw against Ipswich away normally would be a good point. But for us, it's only going to be a good point if we go and get a minimum, you know, of 4 points in these next 2 games. Otherwise, it's, you know, it might as well have not bothered. So, yeah, tomorrow night's game, we really owe them for what happened at their place. You know, yes, our own doing, but and being 2-0 up by half time and drawing 2-2, you know, that can't happen again. And the way that Rowett sets us up and the way that we play, I'd like to think that wouldn't happen again. So,
yeah, guys at like button, subscribe to the channel. Like target tonight, we'll set it at 50, so we can hit 50. That'd be fantastic. Andreas, how are we? Rich, hello. Time for a win. Got to start winning ASAP. Yes, we need wins. Hello, Tripe and Onions. Nice to see you as always from Dan's thrift shop. And say that again, Dan. Bloody advert ruined your speech, mate. I think what it is, the adverts, obviously on YouTube, you can't basically get rid of them unless you've got YouTube Premium.
That's it. Got to subscribe.
You know, it takes the adverts about 10 seconds of the stream, and it's annoying for obviously everybody. But no, Dan was just saying about how this is a big week for Leicester and that we need to be getting the points. The Ipswich game, it's only a good point if we can back it up and get 4 points minimum at the 2 games this week. So good, Jack. Good to see you. Dan, right, Bristol City at home. Let's revert back to Ipswich away from the weekend. A 1-1 draw. Controversies is its finest. The PGM MLO. They basically said that it should have been 2 penalties to Ipswich.
Because I've only seen Kieran McKenna has said the PGMO agrees with him. I've not seen the PGMOL come out with anything about these penalties.
Well, it's what Rich put in the chat. He said
I'll take that with a pinch of salt then.
Well, he said it were 2 penalties, one on Mehmeti and one on what was his name, the defender.
No chance.
Ipre.
No chance.
Give me your thoughts on the draw. I thought it was a big point for Leicester. Walking away from Portman Road, obviously we go into the game thinking we're not going to get anything from it, and we'd be lucky to get a point there. But Leicester turn up first half. They put a shift in. I thought Skip and Winks were very busy in that first half. Leicester, I mean, they kept letting the ball go into the box at times, but then Stolosik never got beat. And then Luke Thomas, left foot, ball into the box. You spoke about it a few times, Dan, how Luke Thomas is good from set pieces. He's not quite your defensive player, but he's more better on the eye when it comes to crossing the ball, and it causes more of a threat.
Absolutely. Yeah, the balls he whips in are brilliant, you know, and we have scored quite a few from them, and we should score a lot more. Like I say, as regards with Saturday's game, yes, it was a good draw. I'm not having it with these penalties. Not having it at all. If they stayed on their feet a bit longer every time they went into the box instead of chucking themselves on the floor, the ref might have had a bit more of a sympathetic view to it. Like I say, you know, the last one, all right, it's contentious. You could argue either way, but I'm sorry, nah, not for me. Like I say, you wouldn't be very happy if it was given against you. And again, obviously, when it's not given to you, you're not very happy. But I'm not bothered about what Ipswich are crying about, because a point to me was about right. They were useless in the first half. We were very good. And in the second half, unfortunately,
too defensive.
We sat too defensively.
Run out of steam, I thought.
It takes a lot. This is what happened when we were last in the Championship. When you have the ball and you're making that team work hard all over the pitch, yes, you're going to tire when you don't have it. Now, for whatever reason, you know, and Rowett did speak about it afterwards, saying, you know, we still need to work on getting this balance right, and being better in both halves, not good in just one. But there's still this nervous energy about us where we're 1-0 up, and we think that's it. We've got to cling on to that 1-0 as opposed to going for more goals. You know, we are we're bottom of the stats for a lot of things that in the previous weeks, but the other one that you don't want to be top of is losing points from winning positions, and we're top of that. And you know, it is just one of those things that, as we always say, and as you're always taught as a kid, attack is your best means of defense.
Yeah,
we don't do that, you know, and this isn't the first season we've done it. We've done it last season as well. If we've got a goal, we think that's it. We've got to cling on to this instead of, like I say, going for a second, going for a third, because they're too worried about losing the one that we've already got ourselves ahead with. But we've just got to have a far better balance and have a belief within themselves, and hopefully Saturday's game, you know, will give them that belief. And like I've said to you many a time, and did the Middlesbrough, I wasn't worried about this one. You know, I knew they'd show up because that's what they do against the better sides in this league. You know, so we are where we are because of how we perform against the lower end sides. So he needs to get a grip of that, because, like I say, we've got a run of it, and this is where we've really got to pick up points, not just to get ourselves out of the mess we're in, but to push on and get ourselves clear of it without having any worries of whatever else may come down the pipeline at us.
Yeah, that's Leicester's issue, though, isn't it? And Guy Rowett spoke about fitness. He said they don't look fit at all.
Yeah, but there's nothing he can do about that now, really.
He can't change that over 12, 13 games, and him being here, and you know that takes a whole pre-season to do, and then the season as a whole to get really 5-6 games into the season. You should be more fitter and more going, and Leicester team just look too lethargic, don't they? They can run for one off, do great, run everywhere, and you look at the other half of football, and you're thinking, well, bloody hell, where's all this? you look knackered. Like then teams start running all over us, like Ipswich did. They just absolutely ran all over us, and every time we'd clear the ball, we'd be right back at us again because we're not quick enough to get there. Because we looked too out of it. Skip and Winks, that midfield had a big job on its hands at the weekend. Then you look at Ricky P at right back. He got absolutely ran down that right hand side, and he looks his legs had gone, and it's just crazy. Patson Daka done a lot of running, closed down a lot, and then second half, he just looked knackered. It's what the hell do we do here? And then you bring Jordan Ayew on. He's obviously not got a lot of pace in that.
Yeah, but I'd rather not bother.
You've then lost that energetic up front, and what I sort of found against Ipswich was Mavididi and Fatawu. I don't think they really offered a lot, to be honest, in what I expected them to. They didn't really go as direct. Obviously, Abdul, I thought, were too predictable. He tried that halfway line shot, didn't he, in the second half? You keep doing that. You got an attack on, you got the pass on, but no, it's all right. I'll go for it. It's fine.
I'll waste the ball.
It's irritating, to say the least.
Yeah.
But you always knew Ipswich would score. You always knew, but then we could have conceded a lot more. We could have crumbled, but then it was just backs to the wall for the last 15 minutes after Ipswich scored, and Ben Nelson cleared one off the line, and that's
it. But at the same time, yes, it's disappointing in that. But on the positive is that they didn't crumble and we didn't concede. So it does show that they are being a little bit more resolute and not gifting goals away. Yes, they're all coming in after we're being put under pressure, like it was against Middlesbrough, where it's wave after wave of attack.
Yeah,
but that comes because of our lack of belief in ourselves and not gaining control of the football. If you gain control of the football, you can control the tempo, and that's something that's, I am expecting a little bit more from Winks. Yes, he's been very good for us since coming back in, and yes, he's been, more positive than anything else. But I do need him now to go up that next level. Now he's been back in for 3 or 4 games, to now go back to controlling and dictating the pace of play, because everything goes through him. But what he does is, like the others, obviously gets tired from where he's having to work harder when we don't have the ball to when we do have it. Like I say, now we've got to be better with it, because the more we kept giving the ball away, the more the attacks are coming.
We didn't find one.
And not one that wanted not a reasonable time.
Not one that wanted to listen to us anyway. Jack, brave to travel Ipswich with Maine and Jit after they made you late for the. It's all right. I would have sat nav at the weekend, so I made sure we got there and where we were actually going. We didn't end up in bloody Great Yarmouth for what I expected to go. But no, we made it on time. And Dan, Gary Rowett's football showed a bit, didn't it, at the weekend, how it's defence first, attack second, and it's every team he's gone to, and it looks like he seems to be very assured away from home when it comes to defence. They did well against Middlesbrough. They went to Stoke, defended really well. Second half, part of that bloody goal they conceded. But then you look at the Ipswich game, defended well for a large part of the game, and then it's just that little blip of bloody not being quick enough to get out. But then Stolarsk's got to do better with the goal, and it's frustrating that they've scored from that angle. How many times do we need to keep getting beat at the near post?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that shouldn't happen anywhere near as often as it does with him, But again, it's just where he's.
It's his position and what irritates him.
Yeah, that's it exactly. He is a young keeper, as in his age. When you consider goalkeepers don't mature until their later 20s, but he's had enough game experience now just to make sure that he should be better, and he should have learnt from past mistakes, but he doesn't appear to. He still makes the same mistakes again, like Saturday. Yeah, okay, we did need him to be slightly slower in distributing the ball, but still not as slow as what he is, and again, yes, he was kicking it longer, but he was always kicking it straight to them. There's no direction with it. So yeah.
Jack, was Bravery eating them loaded fries? Jesus Christ, they look devastating. Well, they were devastating and Leicester City weren't. So, I didn't see both at the weekend. I'd rather the food be devastating than watching Leicester City, to be honest. Yeah. But it's been more Leicester City this season than it has the food. But then over the last few weeks against Stoke and bloody Ipswich, it's been the food rather than the football. So, it's changed. It's changed its ways. It's flipped a coin a bit. I will say, but 1.7 is what I gave them chips at the weekend. And
they looked honking.
It looked like they've been picked up out of the sea, Dan. It was that salty. It was was honking.
Yeah, I wouldn't feed them to my
bloody dog. The bacon was burnt. You could tell by the look on my face. It was just like, it made me gag at one point. I was like, I can't be doing with this. I just ended up just going to get my money back. I just said, I can't have this. She said, what's up with it? She said, nobody else is complaining. I said, well, you try a chip then and you tell me different. And I said, at the end of the day, I said, I reviewed this and I said, I videoed it. So if you're not going to give me my money back, I'm just going to call it out for what it is on social media. So it is what it is. If you want bad business, that's fine. You go by what you believe in.
That's it.
Evening, lads. Big week, this one. Big win upcoming tomorrow. Anyone attending, make that place an absolute bear pit from now on. I'll tell you what. Let's see what Jason sent me a video. So let's see what Jason thinks, Ed, of this week's big thing for Leicester.
Hi, Jack. Jay here. 2-1 to the City. Dak will get the first goal. And then Fatawu will score a worldie in the last minute. The feel-good factor from that will take us through to Saturday, where I think we'll pick up a clean sheet and a win. We've all got to rally round now. It starts now, doesn't it? 2 home games. Starts tomorrow night. 2-1. Come on, the Foxes.
Dan, thoughts? Yeah. I mean, he must have his crystal ball out. If he's telling me Patson Daka's scoring first and Abdul scoring late on, Dan, I mean, hell, I can't predict the future. But if he can, I'm still waiting to win the lottery, Dan. I don't know what Jason's doing.
If that's what he's calling, I'll take it all day long. So,
for sure. It's well, when I was listening to it, I was like, Daka might actually get a bit of confidence actually scoring that goal at the weekend.
You'd like to hope so.
It's not just see him score though, isn't it? Like, I know it comes with a lot of criticism that he just isn't good enough, but I'm happy for him every time he does score. You can see that he enjoys it. He's doing a lot more running, and he's getting his goals for his hard work that he's putting in. Then you look at the go on.
I was going to say, I'd like to hope with Daka now is that he is getting that good run of games. He is showing, certainly since Rowett's been here, he's been the number one striker. You'd like to hope that now that's what's he got 4 or 5 goals now.
In all competition,
yeah. So you'd like to hope that now he can start putting a bit more of a run together, having players back and better players around him. We will hopefully push on. And like I say, his link up with Makassa, hopefully he's back in the side tomorrow night. Like I say, we'll just give him that bit of energy to start scoring a few more, because we certainly need it. That's without a doubt.
We need a proven striker.
I mean, like I say, he's not turned up much for us over the last 5 years, but we most definitely need him to start turning up now.
The PGMOL is obviously, I've seen the report about the penalty. It is a penalty for me. I don't think Hamza Chowdhury could question it for what it is. I just think
the defender's the wrong side of him, throwing himself on the ground because he can't get by him. That's it. That's what they done, Jack.
Everyone has their opinion on it, and I sort of look at it and thought we were lucky to get away with it, to be honest, in my opinion. But the thing is with Ipswich, what I found in that game was they were always on the deck. a lot of the time. And the referee would just like, well, I'm not going to give these penalties because you keep going on the floor. Like, what do you want me to do here? If you're going to keep going on the floor, it's going to prove that you're just going to look for the ground. That why should I give it if you keep doing what you're doing?
It was
I think that's the referee's kind of it. I think it's not the fact that he couldn't see it; he could clearly see the foul.
Yeah.
But he's probably thinking, yeah, but you've been on the floor more times this game. Like, I'm not going to give you everything. But then obviously the decisions that are big decisions that he made that he didn't make cost him. But then the decisions that he was giving for when they did go on the floor when they didn't need to, he was just like, yeah, I'll give that.
Yeah, but when they're not in a penalty box, they're easy to give.
Yeah, of course they are.
Because you know, all right, you know, we had it the other week. Saturday. You know, would I say that's a foul? Not really, but are they given as easy ones by referees? Yeah, of course they are, because they're in the middle of a pitch. You know, at the end of the day, Ipswich didn't deal with the cross in very well. So, you know, that's tough. That sucks. That's football, unfortunately. But like I say, 5 times they went over in the penalty box with next to nothing. I mean, really, what the referee should have done is booked one of them for it, and then they might have stopped, but they didn't. And that just shows that they were desperate. They were desperate to get a result. They were desperate to try and get a win, and they were going to try anything to get it.
The pressure on.
Well, they couldn't get through. At the end, as I say, at the end of the day, yes, they had a lot of the ball in the second half.
But they couldn't break us down.
They didn't break. That's exactly that. They didn't break us down. I can't remember Jakob having to make that many saves. 2, maybe, and even 1 was powder puff.
Yeah.
You know, so that was more it. So they can get as frustrated as they want, and they can say what they want. But I didn't hear them saying, there weren't a foul on Dewsbury Hall when he went clean through and they hacked him down and he should have been sent off, and we ended up drawing. Didn't hear him say anything then.
No,
so, you know.
Well, that Dewsbury Hall one, it's a definite penalty. Rich even agreed it was a penalty. But then you look at obviously the Connor Chaplin
off because it's a goal scoring opportunity.
The Connor Chaplin one, what was it, last season when IU scored? They obviously that was a penalty as well. It was. Abdul can't be doing things like that in a box. You can't go bloody barging into people and expecting it not to be given. But things always seem to happen when bloody Leicester play Ipswich, don't they? Regarding controversial decisions and all that, Dan. It's just the way it is. But they seem to be frustrated every time the players, because they always say Ipswich fans, and I spoke to a few full time after the game, and they said bloody Leicester City or our bogey team, we can't seem to beat them.
Yeah,
no,
that's it. They can't beat us.
But then that's down to Ipswich to be the best, isn't it? You know, if they want to go up this season, they've got to be beating teams like us in this race for promotion. They can't be dropping points. But then Coventry fans are going to be enjoying it because Leicester's doing them a favour. So it's for God's sake, man. Anyway, talking about the defensive display, we are defensive, but I think if we'd gone gung-ho and got beaten, we'd be calling them too naive. I don't care how we play. If we chip away the points, it's at home where we need to be imposing ourselves. Dan, the home form has not been ideal, has it? Like I've said, the players seem to want to play away from home and not at home. But then that's down to they feel that they're being too much criticism and that towards them and getting booed and whatever. And they feel that they'd rather not go and play in front of the home fans, to be fair, to take that pressure off. And it's a mentality thing, isn't it, with the players? They just feel like they've just given up. As soon as the fans get frustrated at home when they're not performing, it's just like, yeah, well, I'm not playing anymore because they're booing me for it or they're criticising.
Yeah, exactly that, mate. Exactly that. That's like I say, it's a bit poor, but I completely understand. Well, it's not Jenny, is it? You've told us this. No, it comes up as that.
It's Jay. Yeah, it's his wife's YouTube account, he says.
Anyway, yes, I agree with what you're saying. Yes, it doesn't matter how we pick up a point as long as we pick up a point. I just want us to start trying to get more. I wouldn't say it'd be naive
Yeah.
I would say it's probably more naive of us at the minute, the way we concede and haven't kept a clean sheet for 30 games now, that we think that we one goal's enough and we can hang on to it. I'd rather us try and get more than just the one. So we'll see.
The home form's the pinnacle side of Leicester City.
Well, it has to be. It has to be. Steve, no, I'm not in a cupboard.
9, 6, 7. Leicester got 7. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 home games? 6, yeah, 6. 6
home games, yeah. More home.
They've got no choice. They've got to turn up at home. They've got 6 big games to turn up and go in, because that's the only way we're going to be staying up this season. We can't just go away and expect to get the points. We've got to be doing it at home, because home's supposed to be where you're supposed to be a fortress and you're supposed to be picking most of your points. The away games are your bonus points, aren't they? Did they call it in football? If you can go away and win, fantastic. If you draw, okay. But your home is where you expect to win more of.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. And that does come with us. I think for this moment in time, we need to get together as a fan group and get behind the lads regardless. And if things aren't working out for us, still get behind them. And yes, still aim any anger at the board. That is just.
Yeah.
But do it as we do when we're away. You know, it is a good blend. There is more songs for the lads and getting behind the lads than what there is the other way. Of like I say, of going for the board. The board has to come, you know, potentially in a few games' time again or something like that. But at home, regardless of how it's working for us on the pitch, is that unfortunately we've got to get behind them first and worry about anything else after. Keep anything else outside the ground. I know there's another planned protest, isn't there?
There is for the weekend. Obviously, you don't expect that to impact on-field matters. I mean, even before they were protesting, you know, results at home were bad anyway. So I don't understand the logic of but the protests are the ones that are affecting it. It's not. It's the players that have not turned up for these games before these protests. That's on the players. Yeah. That's the board can't control what's happening on the pitch. Only the players can do that. But the board are fairly criticised because of what's happened. But then the players have got to still think, okay, well, I've still got to play in front of the fans. We've still got to do a job here. But then this is where push comes to shove this week with these 2 big games. They need to step up now. Because you look at Oxford, Dan. Oxford have picked up back-to-back wins. They've got a striker in last year, aren't they, who's scoring goals. Oxford are, you know, they're showing the fight what West Brom and Leicester aren't. And they've got 2 big games this week in Blackburn and Charlton. So they're games that they can go and win at home. But then Leicester have got to go and match that, haven't they? We've got to be better than Blackburns, the West Broms, the Oxfords. And that's the only way we're going to stay up this season. But then that's down to the players to go and get these results.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And that's the thing. If you give somebody an excuse, they'll use it.
Steve.
Yeah, I know.
Can't put that on screen, Steve. Sorry, mate.
But yeah, if you give somebody an excuse, they'll use it. So, you know, if we can limit them, then they've got nothing to go against. So it is on them. They need to start delivering. They need to start getting results together and turning things around very quickly. Because, like you say, Oxford have won now their last 2. West Brom managed to get that.
Danny, you a closet Leicester fan?
No.
Oh dear, you'd think Triumphant Onions would be on that account, wouldn't you? To be fair.
But to be fair, I'm actually surprised he's been relatively quiet for his standards.
I wonder what ex-manager will turn up tomorrow. I'll be at the game tomorrow night. First visiting to Leicester away. I don't think we get the win. I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I mean, we should have beat Bristol City at Ashton Gate. It should have been done. We were 2-0 up, for God's sake. And then you look what Derby did to Bristol City. They got the goals in the first half, and then they carried on the way they'd finished the first half and gone into the second half and absolutely battered them. So that's what Leicester need to do with these teams. Finish the game. It's all right doing one half when you're 3-0 up against Southampton. You've got to be going with the same discipline as what you did in the first half into the other half, and we don't seem to do that. No, and this is where we're unstuck. And tomorrow we've got to be far better. We've got to start the game well and be a bit more positive, I'd say, as players. We've got to get an early goal because Bristol City, they're not an easy team. They're obviously on a bad run, Dan. What's your thoughts on the Bristol City game? Obviously, their aim was the playoffs this season. They seem a bit off it at the minute. They're not coming into the game with the greatest of run. They're a side who can't defend, but then you look at Leicester, we can't do the same. So it's two sides of how many goals are actually going to go in each end tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. Like I say, that is the slightly fortunate thing. Depends on our players. Yeah, they're not in the greatest form. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They're not. I know they're not far away, but they're not good enough to get themselves force their way in there unless they turn things around rather quickly. But as I said before we come on, really we do owe them one because being 2-0 up, you shouldn't then be drawing 2-2. But again, I suppose that's different to being 3-0 up by half time and losing 4-3. So, but yeah, really, they're not in great form.
No,
our form isn't terrible. 3 draws and a loss in the last 4 games. So, that is slightly better than theirs, not by much. But yeah, all we can say is we will see. We need to just push ourselves on. We've got to look after ourselves, not worry about what anybody else is doing. And as I say, start getting these wins and putting a run together of wins. I keep saying we've got a good 6-7 games here where we should, if we attack the games right, start getting a decent set of points and getting ourselves out of trouble.
But these are the games we've got to win this week. I know these are the sides we've failed to win against this season. Bristol
exactly.
City.
Exactly. Bristol City away, QPR. The next game, that one away. I mean, what a mess that was. So
this is the issue. You're hoping the players can actually turn up now because we've got more home games than away games. So it's the pinnacle of Leicester City now that you're hoping that the hens come to roost now for Leicester, and we can obviously get a little advantage on Oxford, who play on Wednesday night. I believe West Brom Wednesday as well. So it gives Leicester an opportunity to get ahead. If you can get them 3 points, it puts pressure on them.
Yeah.
But it seems the other way around where they're putting more pressure on us. West Brom picked up a point against Sheffield United Saturday. Oxford went and beat Preston, didn't they? And you then think, well, we need to win this game. And that's what we need to be doing, Dan, because Leicester haven't won since January, have we, in the league?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a long time coming.
Nearly 2 months is a long time.
And the clean sheet record as well. That's another one that we talk about. 30 games without a clean sheet for Leicester in the league.
Yeah, that's it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, not just that, Jack. With Blackburn and Portsmouth keep losing, they're not that far away. 2 wins and we've caught them up. So, we need to drag a couple more sides in there, for it not just to be sort of really 2 out of the 3 of us as it stands at the minute. If we can do that, then it puts us in a better position. Like I say, we've just got to concentrate on getting as many points as we can from these next 2 games. Obviously 2 wins is ideal because that, like I say, that really does depending on other results, pull us away and get us closer to those 2-3 sides that are not that far away. So yeah, and that again, we just got to look after ourselves, get behind them, make King Power a tough place for sides to come to, as opposed to a very easy place at the minute, and make sure that we're getting what we need. Like I say, we are defensively stronger at this moment in time, which is better. We're not so exposed down the flanks like we have been, and balls coming in, because Ipswich still did put quite a few crosses in, but to no avail.
It was just a Norwich game you could defend.
Yeah, that's it. But let's hope that was a one-off, and we start getting better results now.
Yeah, great point, Nigel. Well, we got one against your neighbours, and I'm sure that made you happy that you could beat us and they couldn't. So there we go, Nigel. Yeah, Bristol City though, 50 points they're sitting on. They're sitting in 10th. They're where we would have liked to be, of course. They picked up 25 points at home this season and 25 points away. Scott Twine is the main man for Bristol City this season. He's their main threat, any Dan Scott Twine. He's got some free kicks, and I think he scored 10 goals this season already for them.
Yeah, that's it. That's not a bad return. And yeah, like I say, if you can keep him quiet, there's not much else from Bristol. Plus, I do believe they're missing a few, because obviously they had one sent off at the weekend.
Yeah.
Their other midfielder. And I think they've got 3 of their normal centre halves all missing as well. So they're
missing Randall. They're going to be missing McNally, Rob Dickey, Williams, Sykes. So they're going to be missing a few. But against Coventry, they had quite a lot of chances. It's just Rushworth kept them out. So they've got enough in attack. Like who they've got? Sinclair Armstrong. They've got Jacobson as well, Emil Rees-Jacobson. So they've got the attacking threat, Bristol City. And obviously they lost Mehmeti, didn't they, in the January transfer window to Ipswich. It was a big game for them. And when you talk about Struber, he's very much critical of Bristol City defensively, and that they're letting a lot more goals in than they are scoring at this moment in time. So he needs to somehow find a plan for them to sort of maybe get something against Leicester, because Bristol City is a tough game. Obviously, the last time we played them in the Championship was when Jamie Vardy scored that penalty. So there was a tough side then. That's when obviously former Leicester manager Nigel Pearson had them, and obviously I think they were sitting 8th at the time. They were on a good run, so.
Vardy was getting some stick, weren't he? And he ran up the other end to celebrate in front of them.
Well, they're only 7 points off playoffs. Obviously, they played the Wrexham. Can I really see Bristol City making playoffs? Probably not. But then,
no, not with their current form, I don't think. But hey, who knows? Leicester are pretty good at sorting sides out that are in a bad run of form. So
I think Thomas has improved a lot under Rowett came in. Such a shame he's not got the protection from the wingers. I was critical of that at the weekend of Mavididi, and I keep saying this. He got the yellow card because he were left exposed again. Mavididi, it's frustrating. He does the attacking bit, but then when it comes to I say that quite softly, but then you look at the defensive side of it, it's just not doing it. And this is why Ricardo gets ran at quite a lot, because they're not tracking back enough. They're not helping. They're not helping each other. They're just leaving each other and just watching.
Yeah, that's it. They're most definitely not doing enough at either end of the pitch. They're not helping their fullback out enough when we're on the back foot, and they're not producing enough when going forwards. Like I say, Abdul at the minute is becoming increasingly frustrating.
It blows hot and cold
week after week.
It's not consistent.
Yeah, that's it. If something's not working for him within the first 2 minutes, then he's throwing a bit of a paddy. and it's him who really needs to start doing better. He needs to really start mixing his game up a lot more now, because he has become so predictable in what he wants to do. And yes, he gets grouped up on, and he does have 2 and 3 people to get round at times, but at the same time, he is still more than capable of it. You know, I really do want him to start getting to that byline more and cutting the ball back, and or putting decent crosses in, because all right, before, when we've had Ayew up front, there's not been enough in the box, but now we are getting numbers in the box, but he's not producing. So, you know, maybe Rowett does need to have a little word in his ear and say, you know, come on, Abdul, you're not doing enough for us. You're too busy thinking it's about you and not making it about you. And you know, let's start mixing things up, get into the byline, keeping them on the back foot, make that fullback guess, you know, shit himself and wonder what you're going to do to him. You know, are you going to go inside? Are you going to go outside? You know, what's he going to do? How's he going to do that?
Don't make it predictable.
But this is it. As opposed to what he does is took the book of step overs off Mavididi, does a step over, steps inside, tries his left foot shot. Now, yeah, look, we know he can do that, but not at this stage of the season, when, you know, they've seen enough of him to see what he does and worked him out. And as I say, yeah, fair enough. They put 2 or 3 on him. So you've got to come up with something different. And like I say, now we're having more players in and around the box. That's his opportunity.
I agree. Talking about something different, Keith, would we rule out a 3-4-2-1? What do you reckon?
Yes, on the account that, do we actually have 3 defenders that can play at centre back at the minute? Because Lascelles was on the bench, but he didn't come on. So
No.
is he fit enough? Obviously, Yannick's out, so we're only really left with Nelson and Okoli. And I can't see him changing the formation when, yes, it's not enough, but he's had 3 draws out of it.
Yeah, maybe. Would that leave us too open, though, do you reckon, if we played a 3-4-1-2?
Well, it depends on who. No, I would say we'd end up going 5-4-1.
Mavididi has Mikasa supporting him on the left. Abdul does not have the support while JJ's been out. He has no one to play off. That is why he's struggling. Abdul's issue, Abdul tracks back. Mavididi doesn't. That's why I'd sort of revert them 2 together. One tracks back, one doesn't. So that's why they aim down the right-hand side more, because they know they can get that Luke Thomas more easy. It's more predictable for teams because they know where to hurt Leicester, and that's been the Achilles heel all season with Leicester, that they always seem to let goals in when let that ball come in a lot more down that right-hand side. So
yeah. The one thing you said there, and I do agree with, obviously, again, since JJ's been out, yes, he supports Abdul more in giving that either underlapping or overlapping run to pull people away. But again, Abdul's good enough. He should have worked out, or he does have it in the locker to do something different. That's what his problem is. You know, JJ's not going to be there, obviously, to hold his hand all his career. So does that mean he then fails? It's up to him, for me, to do something different. And yes, Mikasa does do the similar thing on that left-hand side with Steffi, but Steffi's just not as good as Abdul. So what do you do there? You've got to work with your stronger players to get the best results.
Well, this is it. And if you play a 3-4-1-2, you're taking the wingers out altogether, which then you play Luke Thomas and Ricardo, to be fair. And they're your wing backs. Someone was on about it to me at the weekend. Luke Thomas would be better as probably a winger, more attacking rather than a defensive player. But then I said that you can't just put a square peg in round hole and expect it to work at this point of the season. You can't sort of revert that now. That idea needs to be worked on in pre-season. It can't be a last 10 game of the season thing where you're sort of desperate for things to work and then you just throwing anything at it to open its sticks. And that's probably that's how I sort of seen that as a passive comment. But then you look at the weekend, Dan. Macassar didn't start. Jordan James didn't start, but then they did come on in the end. What do you reckon regarding how you think Gary Rowett's going to line up?
Is JJ available for us? Because this seems to be this issue of him picking up a fifth booking, so he's now suspended. But I'm not 100% on that.
No, he's not got 10 yellow cards. It's 10
no,
yellow cards.
Well, that's it. Because I was going to say, because I'm pretty sure he's gone past the date. That doesn't wipe him out, but what it does is it extends it. So, like you say, they've got to get to 10 as opposed to 5.
Yeah, they've got to get to 10.
Yeah, that's it. So, with that, I would like us, with being at home and needing the win, that it will be the same back four and it will be the same, obviously, goalkeeper. But in midfield, I think I'd rather JJ come in and skip him out, and we'd be that bit more positive. And then again, Macassar coming in for Bobby, because what do you say about him?
He tried for a Bobby Reid on the bloody wing at the weekend.
Well,
I'd rather put Bobby Reid down the middle as a bloody number 9 at the weekend. If instead of bringing Jordan Ayew on, I'd have put Bobby Reid down the middle.
Yeah, that's it. You know, or if he does insist on playing that, then you've got to fit Macassar in somewhere. And at the minute, I wouldn't want Daka to come out. So, like I say, I'd drop Skip out for this game.
I'd rest him.
Go with JJ. Go with obviously Abdul and Steffi, and Daka up top with Macassar behind him, and be that little bit more attacking wise with what we've got there. We know JJ can do both, and in the same way as Skip, but just with that bit more quality and give us a bit more of an attacking threat.
I hope Sam. How are we, mate? I hope tomorrow.
Him and Macassar are both big lads. So again, that gives Abdul that opportunity to put more balls into the box with late runners, to hopefully pick up a few more goals in that way. Something a little bit different to what we've not had over the past few weeks. And again, like I say, Macassar's quality on the ball in that final third is going to be pretty important to us, really, in opening up defences. And hopefully his link up with Steffi and with Daka will produce that.
Yeah, I think we've got to be more direct tomorrow against these. I think we will defend. I'm not saying we're going to go full 90 without defending, because you have to defend sometimes in key areas of the pitch. But Stolosic's going to start. Viates were nowhere to be seen at the weekend, which was a surprise.
No, which was odd. Yeah, that's odd.
It's a bit like it was Marty's mate and Leicester didn't want him, so it's just one of them. I think
Possibly.
That's what it is now. And the back four, well, Luke Thomas is going to start. Ben Nelson. I'd maybe start Lascelles tomorrow actually against Bristol City. That was the only team I'd put in a back four. I think he'll rest Ricardo. I think he'll play Hamza at right back.
I hope not, because Hamza.
That's what I'm saying. Because now Hamza's back in the fold again. I just think he's going to do that because Ricardo won't be. I mean, Ricardo looked very leggy coming off against Ipswich, so it will change him and then give Ricky Pierce sort of a bench move tomorrow and then put Hamza. But I don't want to see Hamza at right back. I think he's a liability.
Yeah,
I wouldn't personally, but who else do you put there?
Well, I would rather Ricky played and we use him for an hour, and then the same with JJ, and get ourselves hopefully into a winning position, and then you can make changes. I'd rather start with your strongest side, and then worry about that later in the game. Starting with a weaker side and being on the back foot and then being behind, bringing those players on when they're already tired, and that's why they need the break, they're not going to influence it enough. So I'd rather start stronger and then bring them on.
I'd play James and Winks together. I'd rest Skippy. I think Skippy ran himself into the ground at the weekend. It's starting to become a fan's favourite a bit, isn't it, Oliver Skip?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who would have said that? Who would have said that a year ago?
Not a chance.
He's a proper championship midfielder. He's a dogged midfielder. He wins that ball. He works hard. And he's sort of built the fans' trust now that he's more consistent this season, more reliant to put in a performance. Obviously, he weren't great against Norwich, but that doesn't default him for the season that he's put in.
Not at all. No.
Dak will start. I do think he'll go with. I tell you what, I'd maybe put Joe Rebo in. Maybe does Joe Rebo start on the right hand side and move Abdul to the left? I don't know. Where do you go? Does Mavididi start and Abdul tomorrow, or do you sort of change it a bit?
No, he'll either play Steffi or Bobby out on that left hand side, and Abdul will play on the right. It'll be something like that.
And then
Mikasa will play in the 10.
Skip reminds me of Musa. Nothing flash, but does the job.
Yeah. That's it.
It is true. We've got to be. You're looking at the youngsters now, Dan. Silko, Mikasa, Richards, and James all getting minutes. Obviously, Louis Page is playing for the under-23s tonight, isn't he, against Newcastle? So I don't think we'll really see him now for the rest of the season. I think now James is back in the team. It'd be more him playing and reverting with Skippy and Winks. I'd like to see maybe Silko on the bench. Joanne Richards is just nowhere to be seen at all.
Yeah, he's on the bench. He just doesn't come on, which is a bit of a weird one. Like I say, again, personally, I don't want to see Ayew anywhere near this side any longer, anymore. It is the most annoying thing. I want to say more, but I can't. And a waste of a substitute I've ever seen in a player. Just leave him at home. Leave him at home. Pay him whatever it is that you've got to pay him for leaving him at home. Pay it, because it'd be money well spent than him coming on the pitch and absolutely wasting the time. And when the fans are not on side, killing the atmosphere. And like I say, I'd rather Silko came on because he's similar. No. I try sitting on the fence about him, but no, like I say, I'd rather Silko came on and ran around like Daka does and close things down and work hard.
I personally, if it means Daka coming off, I'd put Mikasa as a false 9 and then move then to somebody, then Bobby Reid coming in as the number 10 behind him.
Well, or you can move JJ in there and
that's what I'm saying, and then put Skipping Winks in midfield together.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd take anything to stop that idiot coming on.
When we play with bloody Jordan Ayew, it's just 10 men because he's not up front. I seen it against Ipswich at the weekend. And he come on for 5 minutes and man's bloody playing the number 6 role, or he's out on the wing, and I'm thinking, what are you doing there? And who's down the middle then if you're out wide?
Yeah, like I say,
you're a
waste of space. Absolute waste of space.
It's just a waste of. I just don't get it. But then we've only got one striker at the football club, which is quite bad in it. To be fair, to say that we.
But then again, that's on the board, isn't it? That's the position they've put us in by the mess they've created off the field. How many years have we wheelchaired Vardy out? That sounded a little bit harsh considering what he is and what he's given to us. And if he was still with us, he'd still be our best striker.
We relied on Vardy a lot.
we've had more than enough years to have sorted this out, and they haven't, because they've still.
We've just wasted money.
And exactly that. Ill spent, wasted money.
Spent 8 million on IU, bloody 20 odd million on Daka.
Well, I'm not being funny. Why did we waste 8 million on IU? That's down to Steve Cooper. That's down to Steve Cooper. That bloke makes me sick. Kept whittling on about getting Premier League experience. We're a side that only been in the last 10 years or 11 years has been out of the top flight once. And he's whittling on about Premier League experience. No wonder he got the sack. That's how shit.
I always said about Steve Cooper, if he could sign 11 IUs, then he would. You know, you got Jordan IU and Andre IU, hadn't you? If he could sign 5 of them each and then put his dad up front, he would. Exactly. That's how Steve Cooper used to revert around. Yeah. The club seemed surprised. The thing is, Vardy was never getting any younger. And, you know, but he still did the job. He was still that clinical striker. He still had that knack for goals. Yeah. But Leicester never prepared for life without Jamie Vardy, and that's down to the board again.
Yeah.
You know, we have academy players, we had IU. We need IU on in case of a penalty. Well, he's missed one penalty in the league in his whole career, by the way. You say that convincingly, Keith. We only have Macassar for 10 more games. We can not waste him in the false 9. Drop Winks, play JJ alongside Skip with Macassar as number 10. It's just about options. You can't go changing it too much now. It's desperate times call for desperate measures. So you've got to have a decent squad to go forward into Tuesday's game and QPR game. And you can't afford to change a lot in a short space of time, because if you do it, it could slap you right in the face for doing it. So we've got to be sensible in the options that we do, and that's down to the manager now to do that, and Gary Rowett, and hopefully he can do that going into these next 3 games before the international break.
Yeah. No, that's it. I think slightly misinterpreted what he's on about there. It's just that when we were saying if it happens later on in the game, of bringing Skip in, but it's a toss up between which one you leave out with Skip and Winks at the moment. They're both playing well. It's just, for me, Winks gives us that bit more attacking option and getting the ball forward quicker, as opposed to Skip's role is more to try and break the play up and things like that. You're not going to get the same role, but whatever it is, our main thing is trying to get JJ back in the side. That's going to benefit us. And playing alongside Winks in this game, for me, it would be that. You know, again, if it was roles reversed and we were playing Ipswich at home on Tuesday night, I would have said play Skip and JJ together, because Skip being that bit more defensive and protect the back line a little bit more. But against Bristol City at home, we need to be going again hard against these and trying to get the win. And I think
points ain't good enough
for that.
The points ain't good enough now for Leicester.
No,
they need to win as many games as we can. But then we've only won one in the league all year, so it doesn't bloody breathe us any positivity, because we know what we're like at home. So anyway, Dan, score for this one.
I'm going.
Is there a clean sheet on the horizon, or am I being too delusional?
No clean sheet. No clean
Go on,
sheet.
then, let's sit it down to reality.
I think we will win 3-1.
3-1?
Yeah.
Lovely. Tell you what.
It'll be close. And what will happen is, as Bristol City come forward, we will get our third one on the break.
That's how Gary Rowett plays, isn't it? Counter-attacking football.
Yeah.
The time for draws is past. Too late for moral victories. That's it. You know, even if we won 1-0, I'd take it. Paul's gone 2-1 Bristol City. That's the thing, isn't it? That's always in the back of your mind, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Of course it is. You know,
of course it is.
Yes,
They've
we're
not
steady
done
away
enough for us
from home.
today, no.
But they've not done enough at home, have they, to say that we actually would do it? I don't even think any fan has confidence in Leicester City this season to where the wins are going to come from.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'm going to go 2-1 Leicester. Our backers for this one. Let us know your score predictions as well in the comments. And that is it from us for talking all things Leicester, Bristol City. Dan, thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate it. We will be back with you at the end of the week where we look ahead to QPR.
Yeah. Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday. It'll be about 8 o'clock, won't it? Championship predictions is on the channel, so go and check that out after this. If you're a Championship fan and just a neutral, just love football, go and check it out. Me, Rich, and Steve spoke about the relegation battle. We spoke about playoffs and everything in the Championship. So yeah, go and check that out. Thanks for watching. Bristol City next for Leicester. Will the Foxes finally win for the second time this year in the league? Who knows? Anyway, catch you soon, and we will see you again on Thursday for another match preview on channels. Leicester take on QPR.